Back when I was in the Navy, I got known for these things called Riggs Rants. I would come in Monday morning and I would just fire them off. Whatever was in the news, whatever was happening at the squadron, stuff that I didn't like. And they weren't just complaints, but what I would like to do would bring a complaint forward and then offer my solutions for them. And they got themed Riggs Rants. I thought they were funny. Everybody thought they were funny. At one point, I kind of tried to throttle them back because I felt like they were just like inherently negative. And I didn't want to be known as the guy that brought negativity in, even though I felt like I was bringing solutions with me as part of my rants. But today, I'm saying open up the curtain, let everybody in. I'm going to give you a little special Riggs Rant today. And I think I'm going to ruffle some feathers. I'm going to bring some heat, maybe offend a few people and hurt some feelings. But here it is. I'm going to give you 5 things I hate about realtors. As a real estate broker here in Northeast Florida, I work with a lot of agents and they do a lot of things that I can't stand. And today I'm going to give you 5 of them. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in. So here's number 5 on my list. It's this voicemail script that almost every agent uses where it says, I can't come to the phone right now because I'm out showing homes with a client. Blah, 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 blah. It's a total fake. First problem I have with it is agents for some reason have this perceived pressure to be on call, working 24/7. You shouldn't feel that. You should not have to apologize for taking time off in the evenings, for working with your family, etc. Now, do you need to be available during the working day? And do you need to be available some evenings and on weekends? Because the nature of home shopping, most people have a job 9 to 5, so they're going to need to call their agent in the afternoon. It's just the way it is. So you've got to be available for that, but you don't have to be available for 24/7. And then the other part that I don't like about this is because it's untrue. Because I know you're not working with a client 24/7. Just like you shouldn't have that feel that pressure. I know it's not true that you're with a client on Saturday night at 7 p.m. or Sunday morning at 9 or on Monday or Tuesday, right? Because there's times where I've tried to call agents repeatedly and I hear this voicemail over and over. I'm like, man, these people live at their client's house, huh? They must be married to their clients because all they ever do is spend time with them. So here's what I would suggest. If you're a real estate agent out there, just simply say, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't answer your phone call right now, but if you leave me a message, be sure to include your number and your name, and I'll call you back as soon as I'm available. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. You don't have to lie. You don't have to make up a story. And then a lot of times, I'm going to give a little bonus point on here, is these very long, like 45-second to 1 minute voicemail scripts where it's like, I'm with a client, I'm showing them, and if it's Tuesday afternoon, I have this meeting, and if you want to reach me faster, I'm always available to text, which basically is just saying I screen my phone calls and I don't want to answer it, but if you text me, I might respond. And it goes on, here's my email, here's my website, read my blog that I put out every Tuesdays. Stuff like this drives me nuts. Keep your voicemail short and sweet, okay? Keep it simple. I'm sorry I can't come to the phone right now. If you leave me a detailed message with your name and number, I'll be sure to call you back as soon as I'm available. And then as a professional, you should be returning those phone calls every day before you pack up the office. You should be going through your voicemails every evening before you make your plan of the day for tomorrow. You should be, hey, do I listen to this voicemail? Okay, I need to call that person back first thing in the morning. This call came in at 7 p.m. while I was having dinner with my family, which is fine. I don't have to answer them. But first thing in the morning when I do my follow-up calls, these people are number 1 on my list. That's it. That's number 5, that old worn out voicemail script. Get rid of it. Ditch it. I don't want to hear it anymore. Number 4, and you're going to see there's a little bit of a theme going on. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly what it is. Buyer agents who do not return their phone calls. I'm a listing agent and a buyer's agent. I work with clients on all sides of the transactions. As a listing agent, nothing drives me nuts more than when I have a listing and a buyer's agent calls me. They ask me questions about the home. They might ask me about the HOA or the CDD or the community pool, all that stuff. And we have good rapport building. We have good communication. They're telling me all about their buyer and what they're looking for. Okay, this might be a good fit. And then they go see the home. And then I call them after. And I don't call right away. I'm not this agent that like, oh, their showing was from 9:30 to 10, so I'm going to call them at 10. No, I anticipate that buyer's agent is showing a multitude of homes. And I know when I go show homes, I like to show about 5 homes, no more than 5, or else you just start to feel like everything looks the same. And then maybe I get lunch, or maybe I break with the clients. Maybe I tell them, hey, you guys, you and your wife, go have lunch, go just unwind, relax, and have personal conversation. And then let's get back together at 2:00 this afternoon, or let's hop on a phone call or a Zoom or whatever it is. And then let's discuss it. So I know as a listing agent that these buyer agents, they don't have an answer right away about what their people thought about the house, but I will check in a few hours later. How did the showing go? Sometimes I don't get an answer. Then I call again later that day. No answer. Call the next morning. No answer. Send a text. No response. It drives me nuts when the buyer's agents who went and showed the home do not respond. Even if your people don't like the house, respond. And here's the deal. I know that the sellers, they are selling their home. So it comes with the territory that people are going to be in their home, that their schedule is going to get hijacked. I understand all that too. But at the same time, these sellers, they dropped what they were doing to make sure that they prepped the house, that they dusted it, that they swept it. And they're keeping it clean anyways if they have a good agent who's prepped them and what it takes to get a property sold these days. But they've done the extra stuff. They've put everything away, made the beds, lit the candles, whatever it is. And then they left the house. And sometimes, like if they have pets or children, they have to coordinate all that too, and they have to figure all that out. So they took time out of their day to make their house available for you so total strangers were in their house. The least you can do as the total stranger is answer the phone and say, hey, I loved it or I hate it. If you're a buyer's agent and you're out there and you're representing buyers and you go show homes, just call the listing agent and give them some feedback and let them know good, bad, other, either way. Number 3, in keeping with the trend of being on the phone, it's listing agents who do not answer the phone. Nobody gets paid more money than a listing agent, and they do a lot of work up front. So that's fine. I get it. You get paid for your value. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of cost with listing agents. To be a buyer's agent, it takes a lot of your time. You're driving around, so maybe some gas, that kind of stuff. But as a listing agent, I'm the one who's paying for the marketing up front. I'm paying for the photos, the videos, the 3D tours, all the social media campaigns, all the YouTube ads, all of the subscriptions to homes.com or Zillow or whatever your brand is, right? That's a cost that comes up front, and you don't get reimbursed essentially for that unless the deal closes. So you're working hard. So it is justified. But what I will say that's also frustrating is when I'm representing buyers and I'm calling the listing agent and they don't answer the phone. What kind of a disservice is that to your client? Sometimes I sit back and I wonder, do these people know the amount of listing agents that I call that don't answer the phone? And I wonder, does the consumer, does the person who's selling their house, do they know that their agent, that they agreed to pay 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever it is, do they know that they don't even answer their phone when people who are interested in their home call? I don't know. It drives me absolutely nuts. I think it's a disservice to the clients. I think it's a horrible standard of professionalism. If you're a listing agent and you're watching this and you might think back, oh yeah, I'm pretty bad about that. Start picking up your phone, do your clients a service that they're paying you to do, and get their freaking house sold. Number 2, TikTok dances and social media trends. Almost nothing drives me mad like just seeing these trends and these dances and the posts and stuff. And I'm like, bro, these people, the customers, they're paying you a lot of money to market their house and to help them negotiate deals and to educate them on the market. And you're out here just like making a joke out of this. I can't stand it. I can't stand agents who don't take themselves seriously. Now, obviously, I do a ton of social media. My social media is mostly centered around the education side, the infotainment side. I don't really try to go viral. I'm just kind of showcasing that, like, hey, I'm studying this, and to my followers are generally people who are like homeowners that are like, hey, I'm concerned about what's going on in the market, and I want to know what's going on with value. So that's what I think, and I'm not saying you have to do that. And of course, I have fun and cut loose sometimes on social media. Feel like there's too much of it going on to where it's a joke. And a lot of times realtors get a bad name from the consumer, and it's usually about centered around being an amateur and being cut rate. And I get that, and I see that too. And nothing hammers that home than somebody doing some goofy, stupid dance on social media. I would encourage you to not do that if you're an agent. But whatever, that one's probably going to bring me the most heat. Number one, and this one probably the most important, and this should be the most important to you as an industry professional, should be obviously the most important to you as a client who's thinking about hiring an agent to represent them in the buying and selling process. But it's agents who don't know the contracts. Oh my goodness, if I could tell you the amount of conversations I have with agents about contracts and what is what, I'm almost every agent I work with is like a walking lawsuit waiting to happen. Their misunderstanding of the contract blows me away. We had a particular example here in Northeast Florida where there's a FAR bar standard and there's a FAR bar as is. When you read the verbiage, this FAR bar standard gives room for inspections on the contract. You negotiate pair limits up to amounts, and then it talks about what's in play, what's cosmetic and what's not cosmetic, and what needs to be in working order and what doesn't, and if they're going to have repairs. And then there's a FAR bar as is, and the as is explicitly says like the seller is not obligated to make any repairs whatsoever. But for whatever reason, we had this watered down Northeast Florida contract that kind of just gave everybody every buyer could just get out of every contract they wanted. It was like the softest contract. There was no, and we saw it when the market was going crazy. They'll put a house under contract and then they'll keep shopping and they'll find a different house and they'll put that one under contract and then just cancel the first contract. No harm, no foul, right? Except for the seller, you just screw them. What happened was there was a NFAR standard. That was a contract people used if they were going to do an inspection and ask for repairs, and it allowed for all that. It was all written there. And then there was an as-is contract that specifically was as-is. So the way people would use this would be leverage. Like they might offer you a lower price for your property, but on the as-is contract and say, hey, I'm going to offer you a lower price, but I'm not going to ask you for repairs. It's leverage. That was part of negotiating. That was how you use that contract. One of the ways that you use it. But regardless, it was for as-is deals. And what happened was when there was this big lawsuit last year, it turned out the NFAR contract had some major problems. And so they got rid of it. Gone. Then a bunch of people just said, oh, just use it as is like it's a NFAR. So we'll get an as-is contract written up and the seller fully is expecting this to be an as-is deal. It's literally written in the contract. And then all of a sudden I got a 10-page repair request. And then the buyer agency is just blown away. This is how we do it. This is how we do it, right? And it blows me away. And there's a million other things, a million other examples I could give you. That one has been one that I've been fighting all year. Now, there's certain circumstances too. Yeah, I get it. It's all negotiable. But you shouldn't just be treating a contract like you should understand contract. You should. So the problem is when there's a buyer's agent who tells their buyer like, hey, yeah, we're going to write this offer on this as is contract. And then we're going to, I know it says as is. I know that's what it says, but the way we do it here, no, that's horrible. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. You should be setting the expectation. Hey, Mr. Buyer, we can use these two contracts. I'm going to explain them to you. Here's your options with it. Now, technically, the as-is does give you a right to cancel the contract. So if the seller is really motivated, they may still do some repairs for you but the expectation should be that you're not getting any repairs. My problem is when you're submitting an as-is contract and you're expecting to get repairs. That's my point. And there's a million other things on the contract, and there's timelines that I see people blow by all the time and things they try to renegotiate. And it really drives me nuts. If you're an agent out there, the number one thing you should be doing is learning those contracts, understanding how they work. And when you sit down with your clients and prepare them for the buying and selling process, you should be educating them on them and setting their expectations accordingly. There you have it. That's 5 things I can't stand about realtors. I want to know, what are your top 5? What are the things that you can't stand about realtors? Leave me a comment below. I'll add them to my list, and if I got some examples of them, maybe I'll do another round, and we'll go from there. Thanks again.